All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to go ahead and get started with the special call meeting. Um, I'm going to go ahead and declare a quorum at this time. If everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. We have no public comment, so we're going to move forward to the discussion and action items. Item A, discuss, consider, and take action to approve ordinance 469 for the reauthorization of local sales and use tax in the city of Odem at the rate of half cent to continue providing revenue for street maintenance and repairs of municipal street. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 469.
Second?
I second.
So second by Councilman Dominguez. So we have a motion by Councilman Falcon to approve ordinance 469 for the reauthorization of local sales tax and use in the city of Odem. Second by Councilman Dominguez. We're going to move to discussion. I'm going to go ahead and read through the ordinance briefly before we move to a vote.
Quick question, Mayor. Do we have the old one?
We don't have a copy with us now, not right now, but I'm sure.
Let's give him directly for Pepe.
Do you have like a phone copy of 2017 or whatever? No?
I'm assuming he worked off of the old one, because he said that he was here when it.
Yeah. So, ordinance number 469 reads, an ordinance of the city of Odem, Texas, calling for a special election to be held in the city of Odem, Texas, to submit a proposition on the question of the reauthorization of the local sales and use tax in Odem, Texas, at the rate of 1/2% for the maintenance and repair of municipal streets. Whereas the city council has determined the need for maintenance and repair to existing streets within the city of Odem, Texas. Whereas section 327.004 of the tax code authorizes cities to raise their local sales rate by 1/8% or 1/4 of 1% if funds are dedicated to street maintenance and repair. Whereas in order to implement a sales and use tax pursuant to section 327.004 of the Texas Code, the city must hold a sales tax election. Whereas the combined rate of all local sales and use taxes imposed by the city and other political subdivisions having their territory in the city will not exceed 2%. And whereas the city council of the city of Odem, Texas hereby finds that a special election should be held for the purpose of submitting a proposition on the levy and collection of the adoption of a local sales and use tax in Odem, Texas at a rate of 1/2 of 1%. Whereas the council finds and determines that the holdings of this special election on the date set forth below is in the public's interest. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the City Council of Odem, City of Odem, Texas, that Section 1 reads, a special election shall be held on the 5th day of November, 2024, a special election date in the City of Odem, Texas, which date is not less than 62 days from the date of adoption of this ordinance for the purpose of submitting the following proposition to the electors of the city. Proposition number 1, the reauthorization of the local sales and use tax in the city of Odem at the rate of 1/2 of 1% to continue providing revenue for the maintenance and repair of the municipal streets. The tax expires on the 4th anniversary of the date of this election unless the imposition of the tax is reauthorized. Voting on the date of the election and early voting thereof shall be by the use of lawfully approved voting system, the preparation of the voting equipment to be used in connection with such voting system, and the official ballots for the election shall conform to the Texas Election Code as amended, so as to permit the electors of the city of Odem, Texas, and extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Odem, Texas, to vote for or against the ballot proposition. Said ballots shall have therein such provisions, marking, markings, and language as may be required by law, and the proposition shall be set forth on said ballots in substantially the following form and language. So that's a brief overview of the ordinance. The special election again will be held on November 5th, 2024, if approved, and it will be for the reauthorization of the local sales and use tax in the city of Odem at the rate of 0.5% to continue providing revenue for the maintenance and repair of the municipal streets. All right, do we have any discussion?
I got a question on the language. Why did they put the tax expired the month before? That should be in there according to the, this law from the state comptroller.
We're at, I'm sorry, what section are you reading?
The bottom part says the the tax expired on the fourth, that should, I don't think that's according to the.
On the fourth anniversary? Or are you talking about the bold section?
Yeah. Because that's coming out of, what I was looking at, that state comptroller, and that's what we redo it. Right there, right there. You can read that.
Election authorized before tax cast election authorized.
So I think they gotta strike that language out. I don't know why they got it.
For the first anniversary.
So you're saying that because they won't and never?
No, it just, I looked at the state code and it tells you how to do it. Exactly.
Okay.
And I don't think that should be language we put in there, because people don't know it's, it expired on the fourth. To me, I should be language put in there.
Does it make a difference?
This is from the state comptroller. It's supposed to exactly language supposed to put in there.
The municipality must notify the controller of the scheduled expiration
It's just the language.
not later than the 10th day of the municipality.
Highlight part.
The tax expires 4 years after it takes effect unless the voter authorizes the extension.
See, and that's the highlighted is what to put back on the ballot. They don't say nothing about expiring or something like that. So I think it's putting more fuel to the fire there.
Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
I mean, because I pulled it out of state contract, it just says that. Why put the other language in it? Because people don't know it expired.
Yeah.
Because they could get.
Well,
Now, you probably take that out, right?
I think we can go ahead. Huh?
The comptroller's office, Russell Callahan, had sent an email back in July that said the street maintenance tax must be renewed each year or it will expire and the collection of taxes will cease. By having that language in the ballot, what you are doing is further documenting the necessity of having an election.
Well,
Yeah, but that's more of a directive to us, whoever he's communicating
Yeah.
to, it sounds like to me.
Right.
More, whoever he's emailing, that's what he's telling me.
But if you
Well-
read that, that's basically from the contract. This is the language you should put in there.
So that's
You don't
the
make it-
ballot.
Yeah, that's the ballot.
Yeah,
language.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that if we leave it there, that will also ensure that any future council members and mayors will have to follow this ordinance and not allow it to expire. Like at this point, I think the last election was 2017. And so it's supposed to have done according to the comptroller. So if we did have an election, it wasn't sent to, it never got to the comptroller's
I mean,
office.
that's
So-
state control, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that we're trying to develop a law, an ordinance, which is city law, that
Isn't
will
that what this
basically,
is?
exactly. That's what I'm saying. We're trying to establish a law that will force any future council or mayor to ensure that this is done every 4 years and it doesn't allow it to pass, because at this point, because we haven't had an election, those sales tax really should not be kind of going toward the street maintenance because we should have had an election, what are 17 and 21. So, um, so I think this just ties the hands of any future, council members and mayor to ensure that it gets
If
done.
we remove it and others are here, they're not gonna know it needs to be renewed.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well,
They can look it up.
they can look, I mean,
Yeah, but you have to know to look it up.
yeah, but they don't say no dates either.
Well, it's 4 years from the date of the election,
Well, will they know that?
so it'll be November 5th, and it's the wording is in here. Um, Fourth, it says the tax expires on the fourth anniversary of the date of this election, unless the imposition of the tax is reauthorized. So, on the 4 years after
17, but it should have been
the
21.
November election, we have to have another election. And this kind of forces their hand.
They sent it further.
Well, the law, I'm just going by the law. I mean, this is.
No, you're right. You're not.
That is not the law.
Yeah, we're not arguing that you're correct on those wordings, and that wording is already in there. I think we're just adding this to make sure that in the future, this is not something that's missed, and that we don't ensure that future council members and the future mayor make sure that we have the election, which would be in 2028.
I mean, I can't remember. I don't think, when
Well-
we got on board, I don't think we had one, but.
Epi
so
said,
Technically, we've been collecting without.
Epi said,
But wouldn't it be up to the, whoever administrator to let us know?
yes.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
in
for sure.
2000, Epi, this is according to Epi, he said that they did it in 21, or y'all did, whoever was here in 21. And y'all did all
He
this.
thought they did.
He thought they did, but if that's not, it may have, but it may not have gotten further from here to get it on the ballot.
It didn't get on the ballot.
That's to come on one of the other ordinance, so
I
we
don't
can look.
remember. I don't remember.
But I mean, either way, I mean,
Just come back in.
either way, they don't have any records since 2017, so.
Okay.
And I just have a general question, just you may know the answer. So when you do this again in 4 years, right? You basically pull this back again and then it's a new ordinance number. So it'll be a new ordinance every time, right?
Mhm. So any other discussion? I think it's good to just leave it in there, just so we can ensure that some of us may not be here, 4 years from now, in 2028. Might have a whole new group of folks, and this ensures that it's not forgotten, because that sales tax for street maintenance is important to be able to keep up with it.
I don't remember it going to the ballot.
Yeah, well,
You
And
know,
who
Well,
does that
no.
fall back on?
it would fall back on, the administrator. I mean, whoever was around in 2021 or,
Because there would be.
To
an
enter.
extension.
yeah. Because if whoever was on the council at the time, as like Epi said, if it was brought to council, it was never put on the ballot. And that would have been, the administrator or city secretary's position, job to make sure that it was put on the ballot on time. So,
I hate to be picky about this, Mayor, but on the
okay.
second paragraph, whereas section 327, it says 1/8 of 1% of 1/4 over. They don't say nothing about half.
On the second,
Yeah, it just says a quarter. And,
cities to raise their local
Where
sales
you
tax.
at, Jason?
the second one, that's in paragraph, section 27.004 says
Or-
1/8 of 1% or 1/4. So they don't have nothing about half a cent. You read that right? It's only,
1/8 of 1% or 1/4 or 1%.
Of 1/8 of 1% or 1/4 of 1%. And then down here,
No, it says half a cent at
say,
the
and
rate,
we said a half a cent,
at the rate of 1/2 cent of a cent.
but it's not part of the language. And then over here it should be like half a cent or something. I'm being picky with this because this is gonna be our ordinance.
mhm.
They don't say nothing about 0.5%.
Mr. Bain, can you translate that?
Well, I'm trying, within the 3 pages of this document, I'm trying to figure out where you're reading.
Right here.
Just the second whereas,
Second one.
The second
whereas.
paragraph, whereas.
0.004 of the tax code authorizes the city to raise the local sales tax.
1/8 of 1% or 1/4 of 1% if funds are dedicated for street maintenance and repair.
But yet we dedicated 0.5%.
But is that just citing the tax code?
Because the other half goes to the,
Okay, the first part of that sentence is allowing you to increase your local sales tax
correct?
by 1/8 of 1%.
Or,
That 1/8 of 1%, if you break it out as to 1%, how much of the 1% is the street maintenance tax? It's 1/4.
okay,
You're doing 2% on your total sales tax.
correct.
Therefore, the 1/8 of 1% becomes 1/4 of your 2%.
Yeah, but we're doing it 1/2. Read the bottom, it says, the rate of 1/2 of 1%.
That would be on 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth paragraph.
Yeah, I'm getting there. It's the same as in the 5th paragraph, as it's in the heading. One half of 1% is 1/4 of your sales tax,
Is it?
because you have a 2% sales tax.
Okay, half goes
And
to,
so 1% would be.
see, that's another numbers.
Jesse,
Yes.
1% would be half. And so half of 1% is the 1/4
Yes,
that you're doing in your sales taxes.
we're doing half.
We're doing half of 1%.
No,
1/2 is the regular receipt, the other half is the receiving. Okay, 6.25, right? Is the sales tax. 1% is the state sales tax. Yeah, 1% goes to the jurisdiction and increase it up to 2%. Yes. And that 2% is composed of 1/2 of 1% for ABC, 1/2 of 1% for street maintenance. So we're going to.
Which is the one, which is the
And 1/2%. I didn't notice. It's good. All right, but.
Correct. So, any other discussion? So I think we can go ahead and, I mean, if there are any revisions to it, we'll visit it later. We'll kind of address some of your concerns. But I think that we should leave the wording in there to ensure that future council doesn't let this pass. So they'll know that it's due in 4 years. And I think the wording on this section is it's difficult to understand, but I think Mr. Bain,
It might be helpful for people who are concerned to say a renewal of the existing sales taxes as follows.
right?
yeah,
That way you've got belts and suspenders. You're continuing your 1/2 of
Mhm.
1 cent
yes,
sales tax collection for street maintenance.
I like that.
Okay.
So I guess we'll just look at we can move forward and approve this with,
What is it that he said that you liked?
I forgot.
What is it?
Just
that
a
A
continue
renewal of the existing
Yes.
sales taxes.
where would you put that?
At the end.
Yeah,
at the end.
up there just before the last whereas. Finds and determines that renewing the existing street maintenance tax, where it says there, whereas the
Okay.
council finds and determines
Okay,
that the renewal of the existing street maintenance sales taxes
There you go.
is in the best interest.
Because that covers all the language, we want to,
I like that.
That the,
That's all it says.
the renewal of the, I'm sorry,
Existing,
of the
Oh,
existing
Existing.
existing,
street, what was it? Sorry. Renewal of the existing
street maintenance tax.
street maintenance tax. Okay, finds and determines that the renewal of the existing street maintenance tax, and then it picks up holding of this special election on the date set forth, so on and so forth. Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good.
So we had a motion by Councilman Falcone and second by Councilman Dominguez for the reauthorization of the local sales tax and use tax in the city of Odem at the rate of 0.5% to continue providing revenue for the maintenance and repairs of the municipal streets. There's no more discussion. We'll go ahead and take a vote.
Mayor, we're gonna insert that also, that language.
Oh, with the
Insert that, yes.
with the addition of, um, with this language, which is what,
Renewal
of the renewal of the existing street maintenance tax to the ordinance.
I like that better, because that fills the gap.
Concept, you know.
You like that?
Okay, I think so. So we're gonna go at, place 2,
Yes.
place 3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
place 5. Motion carries with, we'll make sure we get those revisions done, and we'll try to get it on the ballot for the November election.
And this will be up for renewal in 2028.
Correct. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Adjourn, a motion to adjourn by Councilman Candela, second by Councilman Alvaro. We have adjourned, and we will be moving towards take a short break and then get to the